The Challenger tragedy left an indelible mark on the American psyche. The nation watched in suspense as what was expected to be a monumental turning point in the history of space exploration. But after just 73 seconds, the dream was shattered in the blue sky. But what was behind the global shock? Was it possible that the crew survived the explosion? Did NASA receive dire warnings but still launch? And could the debris that had lain silent for decades at the bottom of the ocean have begun to reveal secrets the world never knew? This is not the textbook story you've heard. These are hidden truths, hidden corners that few people know, and once you know them, you'll never look at the Challenger tragedy the same way again. It all started with an ambitious dream, to send humans into space on reusable spacecraft. But is this dream built on solid science? Or is it just a risky gamble dressed up in a flashy technological facade? Let's take a deep dive behind the scenes, where life and death decisions are made, dire warnings are ignored, and the cold truth about that fateful day in January 1986 awaits to be revealed. In 1972, NASA faced a challenging crossroads. After conquering the moon, the greatest feat in the history of space exploration, they had not received the expected rewards. Instead of a budget boost, they faced severe cuts and waning public interest. Even spectacular landings could not hold back the waning enthusiasm. Facing oblivion, NASA was forced to find a new vision, bold, exciting, and revolutionary. The idea to reshape space was born. Develop a reusable vehicle, a shuttle capable of taking off, returning, and re-entering service multiple times a year. More than just a rocket, this ship would be like a space plane, carrying satellites, cargo, and people, for both civilian and military purposes. It was the image of a space truck, efficient, reliable, and economical, a symbol of a new era of technology. But behind that promising vision were trade-offs. Budget constraints forced NASA to make safety compromises in the design. One of the key and most controversial decisions was to use two solid-fuel rocket boosters, SRBs, built by Morton Thiokol. These were cheaper, simpler, but extremely risky. Once fired, they could not be turned off or controlled. If something went wrong, the entire mission would be stuck on its fateful trajectory. Worse, the SRBs were not seamless. The segments were connected by rubber O-rings, which were supposed to expand when exposed to heat and prevent hot gases from escaping. But at low temperatures, these seals did not function as designed. The superheated air could penetrate the gap, destroy the structure, and trigger a disaster. The danger? Engineers saw the danger early on. There was evidence of leaks as early as the first tests in 1981. But because there had been no major accidents, NASA had become confident that the system was safe. It was a dangerous belief that if it hadn't happened, it wouldn't happen. Complacency inadvertently obscured the warning signs that were becoming increasingly clear. The shuttle program was more than science. It was tied to politics, defense, and national image. The Department of Defense wanted to use the shuttle for secret missions, deploying spy satellites and military payloads. Meanwhile, NASA had to demonstrate its effectiveness, maintain its budget, and meet the expectations of the public and Congress. To maintain their status, they committed to 24 flights a year, a number that was almost impossible. Rigorous testing procedures were shortened, and the pressure to perform made safety less of a priority. The shuttle, the symbol of modern technology, gradually became a spectacle of risk. Each successful flight only reinforced a false belief that the system was perfect. But in reality, weaknesses were still there, silently waiting to be exposed. And that day came in January 1986. The morning temperature was too low, causing the O-ring seal to fail as designed. Hot air seeped through the joint, ignited, and ruptured the fuel tank. The Challenger disintegrated just 73 seconds after takeoff, taking the lives of the entire crew with it. What had once been considered an acceptable risk had turned into an unforgettable disaster. Nearly 4 decades later, in 2022, that memory suddenly came alive. While filming a World War II documentary off the coast of Florida, a group of divers stumbled upon a strange object under the sand. They weren't looking for the Challenger, but what they found was a nearly 20-foot-long section of the hull, with its insulation and structural integrity intact. It was one of the largest pieces of debris ever found, far beyond the initial search area. NASA quickly confirmed it was part of the Challenger and pledged to preserve it as a tribute to the fallen astronauts. The discovery not only revived memories, but also reminded the world that every step of human progress comes at a price that cannot be forgotten. But behind the official statements, the Challenger disaster left a void that has never been filled. More than 3 decades on, the world still has no clear understanding of why the tragedy happened and what actually led to it. It was not just a technical accident, it was also a question of people, of organizations, and of things left unsaid. 2 years after a large piece of Challenger debris was unexpectedly discovered at the bottom of the ocean in 2022, attention has once again turned to Christa McAuliffe, the courageous teacher who was chosen to carry her dream of sending her classroom into space. In 2024, in her hometown of New Hampshire, a life-size bronze statue was unveiled, depicting her in a hopeful moment, her eyes smiling as if still looking to the sky. It is not just a monument, it is an affirmation that her memory and that of the 7 Challenger astronauts will live on, not just in the hearts of their loved ones, but in the hearts of an entire generation. In today's educational environment, however, Christa's story is no longer told as a romantic symbol of the dream of conquering space, but as a profound lesson about the silence that is frightening, the limits of belief, and the dire consequences of taking risks lightly. In early 2025, public attention once again focused on a figure closely associated with the Space Shuttle program, William R. Lucas, the former director of NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. He died at the age of 102, leaving behind a legacy that was both defining and deeply controversial. For decades, Lucas was praised as one of NASA's technical architects, but he was also criticized for helping to create a closed and risky operating environment, particularly at Marshall, which was responsible for the development of the solid rocket booster system, including the O-rings that were found to be an indirect cause of the Challenger disaster. The commission that investigated the accident found that engineers were discouraged from voicing professional concerns under Lucas's leadership. Dissent is often silenced, and reports warning of risks are often filtered or downplayed before they reach higher levels of leadership. His death not only closes a chapter in NASA's history, but also raises lingering questions. Could the Challenger disaster have been avoided if the warning voices had been listened to? And can and should organizational accountability be tied to the people who made the decisions? The most harrowing truth about the Challenger disaster, and the one that shocked many when it was revealed, was that the astronauts did not die instantly. Contrary to the public's image of a fiery ball, some crew members were still alive in the cockpit when the shuttle disintegrated. The most telling evidence came from the fact that 3 of them activated the PEEP's emergency air supply devices, a small, manually operated system that provides temporary oxygen in emergencies such as smoke or decompression. While not life-saving in a completely uncontrolled situation, the fact that these devices were activated suggests that the crew remained conscious for a short period of time after the explosion. What's more, switches in the cockpit were flipped out of their original positions, suggesting that there were last-ditch efforts to regain control or stabilize the capsule. The cockpit remained intact until it hit the ocean at more than 200 miles per hour, an unsurvivable impact. This haunting information was long kept secret by NASA, only released after intense pressure from the media and Congress. To this day, the agency has not come to a clear conclusion about the astronauts' level of consciousness in their final minutes. It is a sobering reality, rarely mentioned in official documents, but it reveals a heartbreaking truth. The disaster could have been prevented. If the O-rings had been designed more securely, if the flight had been delayed due to cold weather, if the engineers' warnings had been heeded, perhaps the Challenger tragedy would never have happened. These are all explored in journalist Adam Higginbotham's investigative book, 2024. Going beyond the technical aspects, his work unravels the entire operating mechanism, from the collective psychology to the cracks in the decision-making process that brought the Challenger to its brink of destruction. The book shows that, after the extreme caution of the Apollo era, NASA gradually shifted to a state of overconfidence during the shuttle period. Danger signs were no longer seen as threats, but were classified as acceptable anomalies. Internal dissent became a reckless act for personal career gain, and warnings were increasingly ignored. The Challenger disaster, according to Higginbotham, was not the result of a moment of bad luck, but the inevitable consequence of a system that stopped listening. Through a series of interviews, classified documents, and new revelations, the book also shows that the Challenger had been close to disaster many times before. But instead of being a wake-up call, those near misses reinforced a sense of complacency within NASA. One of the most controversial revelations that has been brought up again is the question of political pressure, a factor that may have contributed to the decision to launch Challenger despite clear technical warnings. And that is what makes this disaster such a heartbreaking lesson in complacency, silence, and irreversible consequences. As the nation geared up for President Ronald Reagan's State of the Union address, the image of a teacher flying into space for the first time was expected to become a powerful symbol of the American spirit. While there is no official record of the White House directly intervening in the decision to launch Challenger, many inside NASA believe that political pressure was real. Another delay could have tarnished the government's image, and some leaders apparently chose to proceed despite dire warnings from engineers and the day's inclement weather. What made Challenger so fragile was not its technological limitations, but rather its internal organizational culture, an environment where schedules took precedence over safety, where dissenting voices were seen as disruptive, and where clear warnings were discounted as acceptable anomalies. NASA's continued launch of a design that contained serious flaws in its solid propellant rocket system was the result of a series of technical and political compromises. For ease of transport, solid propellant rockets were manufactured in sections and then assembled at the launch pad using rubber gaskets, called O-rings. These gaskets were critical. They expanded when exposed to heat to seal the joints, preventing hot gases from escaping. But troubling signs emerged from the first flights. Engineers discovered soot and burn marks around the gaskets, indications that they were not always performing as designed. Several missions from 1981 to 1985 reported severe erosion of the main gasket, and more than once, only the backup gasket prevented a potential disaster. Instead of seeing this as a wake-up call, management began to accept risk as part of the process. Corrosion was no longer seen as a technical error that needed to be fixed, but rather as a known system feature. Over time, the abnormal became normal. Errors were rationalized simply because serious consequences had not yet occurred. This was a clear manifestation of what is known as deviant normalization. When a mistake is repeated long enough without immediate consequences, it ceases to be considered a mistake. And it was this psychological gray area that contributed to Challenger's fate. One of the most persistent people to sound the alarm about the potential danger was engineer Roger Boisjoli, who had been closely monitoring the deterioration of the O-rings for years. After a mission in 1984, engineers discovered black soot between the two seals, indicating that the primary seal had completely failed. This was no longer a minor technical flaw, but a clear signal that the system was approaching disaster. Realizing the seriousness of the problem, Boisjoli wrote an internal memo, warning that if the joint failures were not fixed, the consequences could be loss of life. But instead of taking drastic action, the organization continued to delay, citing the usual excuses: cost, time, and tight schedule. Several suggestions for improvements were made, including cold temperature testing or adding a third backup seal, but all were rejected. Meanwhile, NASA's internal culture seemed to discourage criticism. Each successful launch reinforced the false belief that the system was fine, despite increasingly clear warnings. The engineering data showed that the lower the temperature, the more vulnerable the seal was to failure. But instead of seeing this as a valid reason to halt, management adopted a dangerously optimistic line of thinking, believing that because previous flights had survived, this one would too. Internal documents from the time clearly show the extent of engineers' concerns. One likened the system to a time bomb, with the O-ring as the critical weak point. Engineering models confirmed that a hot gas leak could trigger a catastrophic explosion. These warnings were not wild guesses, but the result of empirical analysis and specific flight data. But in an environment dominated by political pressure and a closed internal culture, safety ultimately took a back seat to considerations of speed and image. And that is when tragedy began to take shape. The Space Shuttle program was a symbol of America's desire to reach space. With a goal of about 24 flights a year, NASA had set up a massive system of operations. Crews trained constantly, satellites were ready for launch, international partners and commercial customers were guaranteed schedules. In schools, children eagerly awaited the historic moment, the first time a teacher would be sent into space. Once the schedule became a commitment, any delay was not just a technical problem, but also a reputational, financial, and political one. By the mid-1980s, each launch was no longer a purely technical task. It was a combination of responsibilities to the government, the military, the public, and commercial customers. In that cycle, no one wanted to be the one to interrupt progress. When engineers at Morton Thiokol raised the alarm about the O-rings, the key component that ensures the tightness of the joints on the solid rocket booster, safety concerns were swept up into a maelstrom of administrative decisions. The risk assessment was no longer purely technical, but also driven by the question, would the public and partners trust it? The internal warning voices were never silenced. Flight data, wear patterns, and analysis from previous missions were presented in full. At first, management listened. But when NASA demanded clear evidence that cold weather would directly cause the failure, support began to waver. The pressure to complete the mission on schedule pushed the technical point of view aside. On the eve of launch, temperatures at Cape Canaveral dropped to unprecedented lows. The seal had never been tested in such conditions. The risk of the material losing its elasticity and becoming unsealed was raised, but in the end, the decision was made to continue. On the morning of January 28, 1986, Challenger lifted off from Launch Complex 39B. All initial signs were that the flight was proceeding smoothly. The engines fired properly, and the spacecraft rose into the morning light, leaving a long white smoke trail behind it. However, shortly after liftoff, a faint gray plume appeared near the bottom joint of the right booster, a sign that hot gases were escaping where they should have been sealed. In the cold, the rubber of the gasket had not recovered enough to form an airtight seal, resulting in a leak. A small amount of combustible material or random fragments of material had inadvertently plugged the hole, allowing Challenger to continue flying for a few more seconds. The spacecraft reached its maximum aerodynamic stress stage about 45 seconds after launch, when the hull had to withstand the enormous forces of the air and speed. The indicators remained within acceptable limits, leading many to believe that the flight was proceeding as planned. However, at 64 seconds, the temporary seal was no longer effective. A stream of fire began to leak from the booster rocket, heading straight for the fuel tank containing high-pressure liquid hydrogen and oxygen. The fire punctured the aluminum shell, triggering a chain reaction. The pressure in the tank was broken, and the fuel flow was out of control. At 72 seconds, the stream of fire spread, and just 1 second later, the main structure of the spacecraft lost its integrity. The event happened in the blink of an eye. There was no giant explosion like in the movies, but rather a mechanical breakdown when the force exceeded the spacecraft's tolerance threshold. Hydrogen and liquid oxygen mixed together, igniting in the air, creating a bright cloud and a thick plume of smoke. The crew compartment was separated intact and free-falling into the Atlantic, lasting more than 2 minutes before hitting the water. On the ground, the signal from the ship suddenly stopped. Communications were cut off. The 2 boosters continued to fly uncontrolled. To ensure the safety of the surrounding area, the remote destruction system was activated, eliminating the risk of the devices flying off course. While the public was still confused about what had happened, engineers at the control center immediately determined the cause. They did not need to wait for enough evidence to know. The seals had failed to function properly, the cold weather was the main factor, and the previous warnings should have been taken seriously. The tragedy was not the result of a moment of surprise. It was a series of bad decisions which could have been reversed. There was no single explosion, but a silent collapse from within. A disaster that could have been prevented, if only the voice of technology had been put first. A seemingly small flaw in the seal created a fatal gap, allowing the rocket's hot flames to penetrate the external fuel tank, leading to the collapse of the entire structure. Under the strain of poor decisions and blind faith in an unfinished system, the Challenger disintegrated just 73 seconds after liftoff. But what was so haunting was not that moment, but the rest of the journey. The crew capsule remained intact while the rest of the spacecraft fell apart. Unlike the debris that scattered immediately, the capsule remained a single unit. After separating from the hull, it continued to rise for several seconds, then began an uncontrolled descent from more than 65,000 feet. Inside were 7 people, who for years the public believed had perished at the first moment. But the evidence that emerged later told a different, more complicated and heartbreaking story. 3 of the 7 emergency breathing apparatuses, personal air supplies in the event of a ventilation system failure, had been turned on manually. These devices, known as PAPs, could not be activated automatically. The user had to manually activate them. The fact that they had been turned on suggested that at least some of the crew had been conscious long enough to react, a detail confirmed in the Rogers Commission's official report. What's more, several switches in the cockpit were also found in positions other than their standard pre-launch settings. These were switches that required physical action and could not have been affected by vibration or mechanical failure. This raised the possibility that Captain Mike Smith had attempted something in that chaotic moment, whether it was a survival reflex or a last-ditch effort to save the ship. That action, however small, was enough to show that at that fateful moment, at least one of the crew was still fighting. From the moment the capsule separated to the moment it hit, the sea was more than 2 minutes. 2 minutes in total darkness, without engines, without communications, without power, without light, without navigational devices. The capsule fell freely on an uncertain trajectory, spinning silently through space, like a long finale in absolute isolation. It is impossible to know for sure what happened in the capsule during that time. If the pressure inside had dropped suddenly, the astronauts could have lost consciousness after only a few seconds. But it is also possible that some of the pressure was retained, allowing some crew members to remain conscious until the end. A hypothesis that cannot be confirmed, but cannot be ruled out. The impact with the sea at a speed of more than 320 kilometers per h was the final fatal factor. Although the capsule retained its shape during the fall, the force of the water impact was unsurvivable. The capsule was completely destroyed, and any attempt to save lives at that point was futile. The evidence uncovered in the days and weeks following the disaster not only shed light on the cause, but also made clear a haunting truth. This was more than a mechanical failure. It was a reminder of the limits of human ability to anticipate, control, and cope with risk. Subsequent improvements in spacecraft design, safety assessment procedures, and decision-making all stemmed from the final, silent, painful, but by no means meaningless, minutes of the Challenger crew. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. If you find this content meaningful, please like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel to join us on the next journey. Don't forget to click on the next video to discover more memorable stories. After nearly 2 decades of pain and endless waiting, Natalee Holloway's family finally got the answers they've been craving for 18 years. The story of the young Alabama girl who mysteriously disappeared in Aruba shocked the world, leaving a haunting void that could never be filled. Now, after years of silence and denial, the main suspect has spoken out, revealing the truth that had been carefully hidden. While the truth cannot bring Natalee back, it at least closes a painful chapter and opens up hope that justice will be served. In today's video, let's review the entire story of this case that shocked the world. If you followed the news in the early 2000s, you will surely remember the image of Natalee Holloway, a young girl from Alabama with a bright smile, appearing all over the media. In May 2005, right after graduating from high school, Natalee and her close friends went to Aruba on a trip that was expected as a reward for years of hard work. However, that vacation quickly turned into a nightmare. Her sudden disappearance opened an investigation that lasted nearly 20 years, attracting the attention and emotions of millions of people around the world, and at the same time leaving a deep pain that has never subsided in the hearts of her family. For many years, the case fell into a complete deadlock. There was no body, no concrete evidence, only hypotheses that were put forward but could not be verified. The media exploited the story while the public waited in vain. Natalee's disappearance became a poignant symbol of unsolved mysteries. All suspicions fell on Joran van der Sloot, the last person believed to have seen Natalee alive. Despite repeated investigations, the lack of concrete evidence meant he was never convicted. All traces gradually fell silent. Then, in 2023, the surprising truth was revealed. During his extortion trial in Birmingham, Alabama, Joran van der Sloot agreed to plead guilty and admitted to being directly involved in Natalee's death. According to his testimony on the night of the incident, he tried to approach Natalee on the beach. When she refused, he attacked her with a heavy object, then threw her body into the ocean. No drama, no complicated plots, just the harsh and brutal truth. For Beth Holloway, Natalee's mother, the moment the truth was revealed after nearly 2 decades was not only a shock, but also a surreal and heartbreaking experience. For 18 years, she had followed every clue, gone through countless dead ends, holding on to the fragile hope that one day the answer would come. And then the seemingly impossible thing finally came. Not from the confusing investigations in Aruba, not from some surprising forensic discovery, but from the cold confession of the man who had plunged her life into unspeakable pain. With all the mysteries cleared up, Beth Holloway no longer called Joran van der Sloot a suspect, because now there was no doubt. He was the culprit. In every word she spoke at that time, despite her strong tone, one could still feel the pain that had not subsided for a moment. Because for a mother, the truth doesn't always mean release. Sometimes, it's just another way to reopen a wound that seemed to have healed, a closure that's more bitter than years of waiting in vain. And if anyone has ever wondered why Joran was brought to trial in Alabama rather than for Natalee's disappearance, the answer lies in a little-known detail. Not for Natalee's death, but for another crime that occurred in 2010. At that time, Joran tried to blackmail Beth Holloway, demanding up to $250,000 in exchange for information about where her daughter's body was buried. After receiving a portion of the money, he provided false information. It was this behavior that led to the U.S. request for his extradition. At the time, Joran was serving a 28-year prison sentence in Peru for the murder of another woman, Stephanie Flores, just a few years after Natalee disappeared. A series of brutal crimes and finally justice. Joran van der Sloot's actions paint a portrait of a dark man who not only caused tragedy but also prolonged the pain with coldness and ruthless manipulation. From the very beginning of the investigation in Aruba, Joran was the most mentioned name. As the last person seen with Natalee on the night of May 30th, 2005, he quickly became the focus of suspicion. However, things immediately became confusing when his testimony kept changing. Sometimes he claimed to have taken Natalee back to the hotel. Other times he said he left her alone on the beach. His inconsistent statements angered the public, but for many years there was still no concrete evidence to legally charge him. After that, Joran continuously appeared in the media with surprising and contradictory statements. In 2008, a Dutch journalist recorded a video in which Joran appeared to confess to being present at Natalee's death and to having helped dispose of the body. But when the video was released, he immediately denied it, claiming it was a lie to gain the trust of a criminal insider. Each appearance was a drama, confessions, retraction, lies, denials that continued the desperate days for those seeking the truth. The climax of his cruelty came in 2010. Joran tried to blackmail Beth Holloway, Natalee's mother, with the promise of revealing where her daughter's body was buried in exchange for $250,000. After receiving a portion of the money, he led the lawyer to a completely false location. Not only did this move shatter Beth once more, it also led to extortion and fraud charges in the United States, which led to his extradition from Peru, where he was serving a 28-year sentence for the murder of another woman, Stephanie Flores, just a few years after Natalee's disappearance. It wasn't until 2023 that a turning point came. Facing federal charges in the United States, Joran finally gave a formal confession, the first that was legally binding and considered credible. In it, he admitted to attempting to commit sexual assault. When Natalee resisted, he hit her in the head with a concrete block, then dumped her body in the ocean. No longer a lie to distract, this time the confession was part of a plea deal and was recorded by law enforcement. The confession not only confirmed suspicions that had been lingering for nearly 2 decades, but also exposed Joran's cold and calculating nature. For years, he had used a family's pain as a tool of manipulation, hiding the truth behind a cloak of lies. The way he admitted his actions, without remorse, without emotion, made people shudder at the sight of a man so accustomed to using information as a weapon. In the end, the confession brought no relief, but only a bitter confirmation that justice had been delayed for too long. A final chapter had been written, but it could never be called an end. For those left behind, the truth does not heal wounds. It merely puts an end to a pain that has been too long. And the case of Natalee Holloway, more than a tragedy, is a clear demonstration of the destructive power of manipulation, lies, and delayed justice. It took nearly 20 years, through countless hopes and disappointments, and the tireless efforts of the victim's family, for the truth to be revealed. Although there were names that had been suspected along the way, it was Joran van der Sloot's belated confession that truly brought the case to a close, an incomplete ending, but the only thing that remained amid so much loss. In early June, the investigation into Natalee Holloway's disappearance entered a tense and unexpected phase. 2 former security guards who had worked at the Allegro Hotel, which was undergoing renovations at the time of Natalee's disappearance, were arrested on suspicion of involvement in the kidnapping and murder. They had been frequent visitors to the hotel and had a history of legal trouble, making them suspects after statements from Joran van der Sloot and the Calpo brothers. However, after more than a week in custody, both were released without formal charges, citing insufficient evidence. As the spotlight was on them, police suddenly arrested Joran along with brothers Deepak and Satish Calpo. However, many believe that this action was taken sooner than expected, in part because of pressure from the victim's family. Under Aruba's legal system, detention can be based on reasonable suspicion, but to continue holding a person, investigators are required to provide new evidence at each stage of the judicial process. From the very first days after Natalee was reported missing, authorities closely monitored the suspect's phones, emails, and movements. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, their changing statements made the investigation confusing. Joran said he left Natalee safely on the beach, then told the Calpo brothers to take her away. At another point, he said he was taken home, leaving Natalee with the other two. Each version was a contradiction, making investigators increasingly skeptical and unable to determine what was true. The inconsistencies in the statements not only made the investigation difficult, but also strained the relationship between the suspects. The conflicting accounts led to a back and forth of blame, creating an atmosphere of suspicion between them. Eventually, investigators settled on what seemed to be the most plausible scenario. Natalee and Joran had been left together on the beach near the Marriott Hotel. As the detention review deadline approached, the Calpo brothers were released, while Joran remained in custody pending further investigation. The search for Natalee's body continued. The Royal Netherlands Air Force deployed F-16 fighter jets with infrared sensors to scan the ground for any irregularities. Satellite images were also collated to detect changes in the terrain, but no significant findings were recorded. A few testimonies from local residents opened up new lines of inquiry. A gardener claimed to have seen Joran with two men near the tennis courts on the morning of Natalee's disappearance, prompting police to drain a nearby pond for testing. Another jogger reported seeing several men burying a blonde girl in the dumpster. However, despite the use of dogs to search the area, the search yielded no results. The FBI continued to assist in analyzing samples and tapes containing blonde hair that were found, but the results did not match Natalee's DNA. In late August, Aruban police rearrested the Calpo brothers and a man named Freddie Aramatsis, who was suspected of involvement in another juvenile case. However, the main purpose of the arrests was believed to be to increase psychological pressure and force the suspects to confess. This tactic ultimately did not produce the expected results. The entire investigation was a series of continuous efforts, but also confusing and frustrating. Conflicting statements, weak leads, and a strategy of blaming each other kept the case at a standstill for a long time. While the case was never closed, the initial steps, slow and uncertain as they were, laid the foundation for the truth that would eventually be revealed. An irreversible truth, revealed through the confession of the person who had kept Natalee Holloway's family in a state of hope and despair for nearly 2 decades. By September 2005, all suspects in the disappearance of Natalee Holloway had been released by a judge after restrictions on their arrest and questioning were formally lifted on the 14th. In the ensuing period, Joran van der Sloot made several controversial statements in the media, further fueling public outrage. In one statement that angered many, Joran claimed that Natalee had initiated sex with him, but he refused because he did not have a condom. He also claimed that Natalee had chosen to stay at the beach alone, while his friend Satish picked him up at around 3 a.m. However, Satish's lawyer completely disputed this account, stating that his client had gone to bed and had not picked Joran up that night. Joran later admitted that he had lied in his initial statements, saying that he believed Natalee would be found sooner or later. In early 2006, the FBI continued to interview Natalee's classmates in an attempt to find more clues. At the same time, Aruban police expanded their search to areas near the Marriott Hotel and the surrounding sand dunes, but again their efforts yielded no concrete results. Before leaving office, Chief Gerald Dompig expressed his personal opinion that Natalee may have died from alcohol or drug poisoning and that her body had been hidden. He also revealed that the investigation had cost the Aruba government approximately $3 million. The Holloway family quickly dismissed all allegations of their daughter's drug use as unacceptable distortions. On April 11, 2006, Dave Holloway, Natalee's father, published a book recounting his arduous search for his daughter. In it, he does not hesitate to criticize the Aruban government for its poor handling of the case and for signs of a lack of transparency, even corruption. The book is not only a father's heart, but also an emotional indictment of what he faced during a period of pain and frustration. The case dragged on for years, moving from hope to despair, from anger to helplessness. For many, the case may have been closed on paper, but the truth has never been satisfactorily clarified. It is not a closure, but rather a lingering, burning wound. Every time it seems to have healed, it is torn open by conflicting testimony, fragmented information, and the coldness of those who know what happened. There is no complete justice, no closure that can ease the pain. There was only a heavy silence and a sense of loss that never left, as if a journey of searching had ended, not with truth, but with darkness. After years of twists and turns, contradictory statements, and countless half-truths, Joran van der Sloot was finally forced to confront the crime he had tried to bury. In a cold and brutal confession, Joran admitted to murdering Natalee Holloway on the night she disappeared in Aruba in 2005. The murder stemmed from a failed attempt at sexual assault. When Natalee fought back, Joran lost control and smashed a concrete block into her head, killing her instantly. But the crime didn't stop there. After the murder, Joran dragged Natalee's body out to sea and dumped it in the dark, a perfect cover-up that has gone unsolved for nearly 2 decades. All the while, he not only remained silent, but also continued to sow false hope in the victim's family. Time and again, Joran changed his story, fabricated false scenarios, and even exploited the pain of others to his advantage by peddling false information. Joran's final confession was no longer a distraction, but a perfect piece of the puzzle that had been simmering throughout the investigation. The details of his confession now fit eerily with the data and evidence that had been collected before, painting a grim but clear picture of what really happened that night. While it would not bring Natalee back, the truth that came to light nearly 20 years later brought some closure, albeit bitter, to her family's long journey. However, one question remained. Would Natalee's body ever be found? With his confession that he had thrown her body into the ocean immediately after the crime, the chances of recovering her remains were virtually nil. Despite a massive search, international support, and millions of dollars spent, Natalee's body remains a mystery. Joran's confession may close a painful chapter, but the haunting memory of an unburied body will continue to haunt the family, investigators, and everyone who has followed the case for nearly 2 decades. The vast and unforgiving ocean, with its fierce tides and relentless currents for nearly 2 decades, has made finding and preserving remains nearly impossible. Cruel and indifferent, nature may have washed away every last trace, even if the truth had been there. Countless efforts have been made, from ponds to sandbars to remote landfills, based on accounts or tenuous clues. But most have only led to disappointment, when information is proven false or there is no way out. Sniffer dogs have been brought in, ponds have been drained, satellite imagery has been analyzed in detail, and the FBI has tested even the smallest samples like hair and duct tape. But all have come up empty. Each failed search has deepened the pain, especially for Natalee's parents, who have never given up hope of finding a final answer. The failure to find the body meant closure was far from certain, not just legally, but also an emotional wound that had never healed. The tragedy was compounded by the fact that the case was not just a heinous crime, but also a long series of lies and manipulations. Joran van der Sloot's constantly shifting statements kept investigators trapped in a spiral of false leads, while the truth remained elusive. The climax of his brazenness came when he attempted to blackmail Natalee's mother, exploiting the family's grief. Each new version Joran gave pushed the case in a different direction, leaving investigators chasing a mirage while the truth grew farther and farther away. By the time a credible confession finally emerged in 2023, too much time had passed. Nature and time may have erased the last traces of evidence, leaving the chance of recovering the remains slim. A diver might stumble upon them, a current might wash them ashore, or a construction site might unearth a mystery that was thought to be lost. But according to most experts, that possibility is now almost nil. The ocean does not hold remains in a peaceful grave. It scatters, buries, and carries them away. It is a harsh reality that any family who has lost a loved one at sea must face. Still, the final confession may be the closest thing to closure that Natalee's family can get. They can't get their daughter back, but at least they know what really happened. A part of the truth is revealed, after years of uncertainty and trauma. While her body may never be found, the veil of lies that has been laid bare for years has finally been lifted. When physical evidence is gone, the truth becomes the ultimate form of justice. Natalee did not disappear mysteriously. No miracle or magic ever happened. She died a brutal death at the hands of a stranger who tried to hide his guilt through layers of lies and deception. This long and twisted case is not just an open file, but a deep, painful wound that has been open for nearly 20 years. A tragedy without end. The Twitty family and their supporters have expressed deep frustration with the Aruban government's investigation, saying that the authorities there have been ineffective and not transparent enough in handling the case. However, they have also faced criticism from some on the island. Many have accused the family of withholding important information, distorting the facts of the case, and using the media to push their version of the story. They have even alleged that the Twitty family pressured Natalee's classmates to keep quiet. The family has strongly denied these allegations. Beth Twitty, Natalee's mother, has not hesitated to make strong statements in interviews and in her book. She asserts that Joran van der Sloot and the Kalpoe brothers knew much more about her daughter's disappearance than they have ever admitted. She also alleged that one of them had sexually assaulted Natalee. When the Kalpoe brothers were released from prison in July 2005, Beth immediately called them out for a violent crime, a public statement that caused a stir in Aruba. About 200 people protested outside the courthouse, holding signs calling for respect for the principle of innocence until proven otherwise and for the rule of law. Satish Kalpoe's lawyer immediately responded, denouncing Beth Twitty's accusations as defamatory, one-sided, and potentially leading to legal action. Under heavy pressure from the public, Beth issued a public apology, admitting that her statements were made out of extreme despair and grief and expressing a desire not to hurt the people and officials of Aruba. In 2007, Beth published her book, Loving Natalee, which recounted her mother's tireless quest for justice for her daughter. In it, she continued to emphasize her belief that Joran and the Kalpoe brothers were responsible for her daughter's disappearance. For her, persistence is the most powerful weapon in the quest for justice, and she must never give up. When a Dutch television program released secretly recorded footage of Joran, Beth insisted that the footage showed the truth of the incident. In an interview with the New York Post, she shared that if Joran had sought help instead of covering up the truth, her daughter might still be alive. She went on to allege that Joran could have dumped Natalee's body in the Caribbean Sea even while she was still alive, and that Joran's father also played a role in the cover-up. The Holloway family has also repeatedly criticized the Aruba justice system, saying Joran has been treated too leniently. When the court refused to continue his detention, Beth spoke out, calling Joran's life a living hell and expressing her desire for him to receive a harsher sentence in a prison environment that befits his crimes. To channel her grief into action, Beth Twitty founded the International Safe Travels Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to raising public awareness about safe international travel. In 2010, she announced the creation of the Natalee Holloway Resource Center at the National Crime and Punishment Museum in Washington, D.C., to support families of missing loved ones. Initially, the Holloway family did not support calls to boycott travel to Aruba. But after much disappointment, in September 2005, Beth officially recommended that Americans avoid traveling to Aruba and the Netherlands because of safety concerns and lack of justice. For Beth Twitty, the truth is not only a destination, but also the only thing that helps her live through the irreparable loss. On November 8th, in a highly publicized press conference, Alabama Governor Bob Riley and the Holloway family publicly called on Americans to boycott travel to Aruba. The call quickly spread across the United States as Governor Riley actively contacted other governors, receiving support from states such as Georgia and Arkansas. The Philadelphia City Council even passed a resolution asking Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell to join the movement, but he declined, and there was no official support from the federal government. In Alabama, many congressional representatives voiced their support. Among them were Senator Richard Shelby and Representative Spencer Bachus. Senator Shelby also sent a letter to the American Association of Travel Agents, expressing deep concerns about the safety of American citizens in Aruba. He emphasized that many people no longer felt protected on the island, and that made them hesitant to choose it as a destination. In response to the widespread boycott, Aruba Prime Minister Nelson Oduber has officially defended the island's reputation. He has strongly criticized the movement, calling it a one-sided, irresponsible, and unsupported response. Oduber has insisted that Aruba is not a place for illegal or threatening behavior toward international tourists, and has stressed that there is no threat from Aruba to the United States or the state of Alabama. In this context, the Aruba government has worked closely with the local business community to form a strategic communications task force. This team includes members from the Aruba Hotel and Tourism Association and the National Tourism Authority, with the goal of proactively responding to negative information that is affecting the image of the island. They quickly launched a media campaign, appearing on television shows, issuing press releases, and defending the way local authorities handled the case. Throughout the entire process, the media played a crucial role, both as a means of disseminating information to the public and as a source of controversy. Many believe that, from the very beginning, the media did not give Natalee the justice she deserved, making the already complex investigation even more tense and multifaceted. As soon as Natalee Holloway was reported missing, the media took to the story at breakneck speed, making it a major headline on every newspaper and television screen. The young Alabama girl's face quickly appeared densely across the media, especially in the United States, where the story was broadcast continuously day and night like a never-ending news bulletin. For weeks, even months, Natalee's name seemed to be a constant presence whenever viewers turned on the TV or flipped through the morning paper. Initially just a locally reported disappearance, in a short time, the case exploded into an international media phenomenon. It had all the elements that made the public unable to take their eyes off it. A young white woman in the prime of her life mysteriously disappeared during a vacation on a tropical island. It was this combination that made the story so compelling, mysterious, emotional, and, above all, emblematic of the fragility of life in its most innocent moments. Beth Holloway, Natalee's mother, quickly became the face of the quest for justice, appearing regularly on popular television shows such as Nancy Grace, Larry King Live, and The Today Show. Her unending grief and relentless determination were captured on television cameras every step of the way, with her every move and utterance in Aruba being followed almost minute by minute. Cable news channels such as Fox News and CNN played a leading role in bringing the case to millions of viewers, turning a family's personal story into a national conversation every day. Not only did the media expand its coverage, it also expanded its coverage with a series of programs that analyzed, speculated, and commented on suspects, potential motives, and a host of unproven theories. Interviews ranged from family and friends to people with no apparent connection to the case. The result was a massive, multidimensional, and sometimes contradictory flow of information, making the atmosphere surrounding the case chaotic and unpredictable. Joran Vandersloot, the central suspect in the case, quickly became a media sensation thanks to relentless coverage in the press. He was portrayed as a villain in a dramatic television series, creating a tense and intriguing picture. This special attention not only put pressure on the Aruban authorities to continue the investigation, but also led to deep debate about the media's handling of the case. Many criticized the imbalance in coverage, with Natalee's case receiving more attention than other missing persons cases, especially those of people of color. The concept of missing white women syndrome was widely mentioned, reflecting the media's tendency to focus primarily on young, white, middle, or upper-class victims, while other cases were often neglected. For the people and officials of Aruban, the media attention has been a mixed bag. Initially, they hoped the attention would spur progress in the investigation, but as time has passed, frustration has grown as the results have remained unclear. The Aruba government has been under constant criticism, while locals feel the island's image has been unfairly portrayed, causing serious damage to tourism and the island's reputation. The press has repeatedly questioned the extent of corruption or incompetence in the local police force, creating tension between the American media and Aruban officials. The case has shifted from a story about a disappearance to a scrutiny of every flaw and shortcoming in the investigation, with every small development blown up into a hot-button news story. Every twist or turn in Joran's testimony was exploited to the fullest, becoming a front-page headline, turning the story into more than just a missing persons story, but a lasting media phenomenon. New information about Joran, from his arrest in Peru for another murder to his extradition to the United States, was always taken advantage of by the press, helping Natalee's story maintain its appeal to the public for many years. A series of documentaries, true crime shows, and television specials continued to recreate the case, giving audiences the opportunity to continue to follow and delve into the events. Platforms like Dateline, NBC, 20/20ths, and many streaming services continued to exploit, trying to piece together the scattered pieces to reveal the hidden truths behind the disappearance. The Natalee Holloway case became a landmark in the way the media covered missing persons, reflecting the power and limits of public attention. It exposed the unfairness and bias in the selection of stories that were brought to light. While the media kept the case alive in the public mind and spurred action by the authorities, it also provided a powerful lesson in the fine line between honest journalism and sensational entertainment. Do you still remember the Natalee Holloway case? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for watching and accompanying the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to update the latest and most interesting stories. Welcome to our channel. Have you ever wondered what lies behind the bright smiles and auras of famous transgender people? In today's video, we explore the extraordinary journeys of icons like Caitlyn Jenner, Laverne Cox, and many other inspiring figures. These are not only stories of transformation, but also of courage, inner strength, and the will to overcome adversity. Join us on this inspiring journey. You will not only be surprised, but also deeply appreciate the people who have overcome their own shortcomings. Let's get started. Elliot Page, born in 1987 in Canada, is a talented actor and producer who made a strong impression with his leading role in the film Juno, a work that brought him many compliments from critics and audiences worldwide. Not stopping there, he also demonstrated his ability to transform diversely through roles in outstanding films such as Inception and the Umbrella Academy series, affirming his position in the international film industry. In 2020, Elliot Page publicly came out as transgender, a brave and groundbreaking decision. His journey to live true to himself not only received strong support from the LGBTQ+ community, but also created a great resonance in society. That choice has inspired millions of people, especially those who are yearning to live freely and be accepted as their true selves. In addition to his artistic career, Elliot is also an active social activist, always using his voice to fight for the rights of the transgender and LGBTQ+ community. He constantly speaks out against discrimination, promotes empathy, and promotes a society where people can be themselves without fear of judgment. Today, Elliot Page is not only a talented artist, but also a symbol of strength, confidence, and hope for a better world for everyone. Amia Scott is the embodiment of courage and determination in her journey of self-discovery and self-affirmation. Born in New Orleans, she realized her gender identity early on and chose to embark on the path of transgenderism at a very young age. It was not an easy journey, with many challenges both personally and socially. However, Amiya overcame it all with an indomitable spirit. Her career really shined when she appeared in the television series Star, produced by Lee Daniels. With this role, Amiya became the first transgender actress to participate in a mainstream series on a major American television network, opening an important turning point not only for her, but also for the LGBTQ+ community in the entertainment industry. The role not only affirmed her acting ability, but also became a symbol of diversity and worthy representation for voices that were not heard enough. Amiya Scott is not only an artist, but also an activist, always ready to speak up for gender equality and personal freedom. She uses her influence to promote social awareness, spreading the message of self-love and accepting differences. Amiya is a strong testament that perseverance, confidence, and self-love can create change not only in one person's life, but also in a large community. The Wachowski sisters, Lana and Lily, are two extraordinary filmmakers who have left a deep mark on the history of global cinema. With masterpieces such as The Matrix and Cloud Atlas, they not only reshaped the way cinema was told, but also boldly incorporated messages about identity, personal freedom, and gender diversity, topics that were once neglected or considered sensitive in mainstream cinema. Their works are not only captivating because of their groundbreaking images and pioneering techniques, but also because of their rare philosophical and humanistic depth. Both Lana and Lily bravely came out as transgender, a challenging personal turning point but also an act of symbolism in the fight against prejudice and discrimination. They not only overcame their journey to find themselves, but also became strong voices for the LGBTQ+ community, affirming the right to live authentically, to be creative, and to be accepted like anyone else in society. Their career is an impressive combination of high art and pioneering spirit. Not only have they created films that have changed the landscape of world cinema, but they have also inspired generations with their own stories. The Wachowskis have proven that cinema is not just a place to tell dreams, but can also be a powerful tool to change minds, break down barriers, and push the world forward with greater tolerance and understanding. Bülent Ersoy, one of Turkey's greatest musical icons, has not only won the public's admiration for her powerful voice, but also for her rare courage in coming out as a transgender artist. Born in 1952, Bülent quickly became a top star thanks to her excellent performance and intense emotions in each song, leaving a deep impression on millions of audiences for decades. In the 1980s, when Turkish society was still full of prejudices about gender and the LGBTQ+ community, Bülent embarked on a transgender journey, a difficult decision, but also a historic turning point. She faced a lot of opposition, criticism, and discrimination, but she still steadfastly pursued her passion for art, asserting herself not only with her talent, but also with her courage. It was that resilience that turned her into a symbol of freedom, courage, and the desire to live as her true self. In addition to her legendary voice, Bülent Ersoy was a trailblazer for transgender artists in Turkey, where being true to one's gender identity was once frowned upon. Her legacy is not only her timeless music, but also her relentless fight for equality and acceptance. Bülent's story is a powerful inspiration for a new generation of artists and has cemented her place as an irreplaceable icon in the history of contemporary Turkish music and culture. Andrea Pejic, a famous Australian supermodel, has made a huge breakthrough in the world fashion industry with her ability to break all gender barriers. Born in Bosnia and Herzegovina and later settled in Australia, Andrea quickly attracted attention with her unique style, confidently walking in both men's and women's clothing, opening a whole new definition of genderless beauty. She has made her mark on prestigious catwalks such as Jean-Paul Gaultier and Marc Jacobs, becoming a pioneering icon promoting diversity and acceptance in the fashion industry. In 2014, Andrea publicly transitioned and officially took the name Andrea Pejic, marking an important turning point in her life and career. This decision not only helped her to be true to herself, but also affirmed her position in the list of the most successful transgender models globally. Andrea Pejic is not only a standout on the catwalk, she is also a tireless activist for LGBTQ+ rights. She uses her influence to break down gender stereotypes, promote inclusion, and celebrate diversity in the fashion world. Andrea Pejic is not only an icon of beauty and talent, but also a powerful inspiration, demonstrating the power of courage and confidence to create positive change in society. Alexandra Billings is a symbol of resilience, shining brightly amidst challenges and social prejudices. As one of the pioneering transgender women in the entertainment industry, she not only conquered the audience with her outstanding talent, but also with her extraordinary courage on her journey to find and affirm herself. Born in an era where the LGBTQ+ community still suffered from many discriminations, Alexandra persevered to overcome all barriers to become a shining star on stage and screen, with memorable roles in the series Transparent. Not only successful in the arts, she is also a passionate social activist, constantly fighting for the rights of the LGBTQ+ community. Alexandra actively participates in international educational programs and seminars, spreading inspiration and knowledge to everyone. She is a strong source of motivation, a living testament to the power of perseverance and self-belief, opening the path to recognition and equality for everyone. Alexandra Billings is a living symbol of courage and hope, inspiring us to keep moving forward on our journey. Buck Angel is not only a prominent icon in the LGBTQ+ community, but also a model of strength, perseverance, and unwavering courage. Born in Los Angeles, California, he began his transition from female to male with rare courage, becoming one of the most important voices in the fight for transgender rights and recognition. In addition to his career in the adult film industry, Buck is also an inspirational speaker, dedicated to sharing stories about transgender, human rights, and sexuality. He has tirelessly used his voice to spread the message of respect and equality, affirming that everyone deserves to be treated equally, regardless of gender or gender identity. Buck Angel is a living testament to the power of self-awareness and unwavering courage. Not only does he live his true self, he also inspires, empowers, and motivates thousands of people in the LGBTQ+ community, as well as those on their journey to find freedom and discover their personal identity. Chanel West Coast was once the subject of a bizarre social media rumor, with some claiming that she was Lee Norris, the actor best known for his role as Stuart Minkus on Boy Meets World *, who had transitioned into Chanel. The rumor was based on the physical similarities between the two, but in reality they are two completely separate individuals with different career paths. While Lee Norris continued to develop his acting career, Chanel made a deep mark in the rap and television world. Despite being affected by the wave of rumors that caused a stir, Chanel did not let it distract her. She chose to face the situation with calmness and maturity, emphasizing that the transgender journey is a sensitive issue that should not be made fun of or ridiculed. Instead, Chanel focused on her career and future projects, while having a deep respect for those who have actually undergone a gender transition. Chanel's calm and professional response not only helps her maintain her personal image, but also shows maturity in dealing with baseless rumors, affirming that she always puts her career and respect first. Caitlyn Jenner, born in 1949, is an American sports legend and activist who has made a profound mark in history with her incredible achievements. Before coming out as transgender in 2015, Caitlyn had become an international icon in the sports world, especially with her gold medal in multisports at the 1976 Summer Olympics. a milestone that affirmed her position as one of the greatest athletes of all time. Caitlin's decision to come out as transgender created shockwaves not only in the sports community, but also in the entire world media. She used her enormous influence to raise awareness for transgender rights, sharing her inspiring story through the reality show I Am Kate and her autobiography, The Secrets of My Life. Not only is Caitlyn Jenner a sports icon, she has also become a pioneer in the fight for equal rights for the LGBTQ+ community, inspiring millions of people to dare to be true to themselves, overcoming all barriers and prejudices. Caitlyn's journey is not only a personal story, but also a great symbol of the power of freedom and courage in asserting oneself. Jake Zyrus, born in 1992 in the Philippines, is a talented singer-songwriter known for his deep and soulful voice. Before transitioning, he was known as Charis Pempenko, and quickly gained attention from the community thanks to his singing videos on YouTube, where he demonstrated his outstanding ability through sweet and emotional ballads. Jake has shined on famous stages, appearing on popular TV shows such as The Oprah Winfrey Show and The Ellen DeGeneres Show. He has released many beloved albums and singles, with songs that touch the hearts of listeners thanks to their emotional depth and unique style. In 2017, Jake publicly transitioned and officially changed his name, becoming a courageous symbol of the LGBTQ+ community. With determination and confidence, he has not only conquered the pinnacle of his career, but also become a great inspiration for those who are on the journey to find freedom and self-acceptance. In addition to his music career, Jake Zyrus is also actively involved in activities to fight for transgender rights and promote equality in society. He is a living testament to the power of being true to yourself, reminding everyone that everyone deserves to be loved and respected. Behind the glittering lights of Hollywood, there are little-known stories, and Alexis Arquette's journey is one of them, touching and inspiring. As a member of the famous Arquette family, Alexis has left a deep impression on audiences through her memorable roles in Pulp Fiction and The Wedding Singer. But what makes her special is not only her acting talent, but also her challenging journey of transition, not only changing her appearance, but also the harsh struggle to find herself in a prejudiced society. Alexis has not only faced the pressure of the spotlight, but also become a resilient, steadfast warrior in the fight for the rights of the LGBTQ+ community. She is a symbol of courage and perseverance, proving that no matter how many difficulties she encounters, being true to herself is always the most precious thing. Alexis Arquette's life and career are not only an artistic journey, but also a powerful reminder that anyone can overcome any barrier to freedom and acceptance. Alexis has dared to step into the light. Are you ready? Angela Ponce, a Spanish model and beauty queen, made history when she became the first transgender woman to compete in the Miss Universe pageant representing Spain in 2018. Born in 1991, she went through a difficult transition journey, but with her strong will and desire to live true to herself, Angela shone brightly, becoming a symbol of freedom and courage in society. Before conquering the international arena, Angela won the title of Miss Spain 2018, a victory that was not only a personal success, but also opened a new page in the history of beauty pageants. She is a living testament to diversity in beauty, breaking traditional gender norms and strongly inspiring millions of people around the world. Not only a beauty icon, Angela is also a passionate activist, using her influence to fight for the rights and equality of the LGBTQ+ community. Her story goes beyond the glamorous exterior, sending a powerful message about courage, the ability to overcome social barriers, and the right to be true to yourself. Carmen Carrera is not only a talented model and outstanding actress, but also a strong symbol of the LGBTQ+ community. She made a deep impression on the public through the show RuPaul's Drag Race Asterisk, where her charming beauty and talent made all eyes stop. However, behind the stage's aura is a story full of courage and perseverance in the journey to live true to oneself. Born in 1985, Carmen quickly attracted attention in the fashion industry thanks to her natural beauty and unique style. Joining RuPaul's Drag Race Asterisk was not only a breakthrough that helped her rise, but also opened a new chapter for transgender people in the modeling industry, a field with many challenges and barriers. Carmen became a pioneer, a strong voice promoting change, affirming that every individual, regardless of gender or sexual orientation, deserves to be loved and respected. Carmen Carrera's story is not only a journey of overcoming challenges, but also a source of endless inspiration. She proves that true strength comes from courage, from being true to yourself, and standing firm in the fight for your own rights and those of your community. Carmen continues to be a great source of motivation and inspiration for those who seek freedom and assert their place in society. Caroline Cossey, born in 1954, is a pioneer in the modeling and film industry, not only making her mark with her talent, but also with her courageous resilience in her challenging transgender journey. Starting her career in the 1970s, she quickly attracted attention with her natural beauty and unique style, while breaking the strict limits of an industry that was closed and unaccepting of diversity. Caroline's career highlight was her role in the James Bond film For Your Eyes Only, making her one of the first transgender people to appear on the Hollywood big screen. This was not only a big turning point for her personally, but also opened a new door, contributing to creating a space of equality and respect for transgender people in art and entertainment. In addition to her role as a model and actress, Caroline has also boldly shared her journey through books and television shows, contributing to changing society's perception of the LGBTQ+ community. Her story is not only a journey of affirming personal identity, but also a strong inspiration, encouraging people to be courageous to be true to themselves, overcoming all prejudices and challenges. Caroline Cossey is not only a fashion legend, but also a leader in the fight for acceptance and equality for the transgender community. Conchita Wurst, born in 1988, has become a global musical phenomenon and a living symbol of diversity and acceptance. Her resounding victory at the Eurovision Song Contest 2014 with the song Rise Like a Phoenix brought her to the pinnacle of fame. Her unique image with a long beard combined with sparkling costumes not only created her own brand, but also became a powerful symbol of gender freedom and the right to be true to oneself. Before becoming Conchita Wurst, the artist named Tom Neuwirth showed his bold creativity by blending music with a unique visual style. With her emotional voice and profound message, Conchita not only conquered the hearts of listeners, but also spread the values of respect and gender diversity around the world. Not only is Conchita Wurst a talented singer, she is also a strong social activist, constantly fighting for the rights of the LGBTQ+ community and speaking out against all forms of discrimination. She has become a strong inspiration, encouraging people to be brave, overcome their fears, and break down all social barriers. Conchita is not only a musical icon, but also a global cultural icon, representing the power of freedom and diversity in music and life. Dominique Jackson, born in 1972, is not only a talented model and actress, but also a shining icon in the entertainment industry and the LGBTQ+ community. The role of Electra Abundance in the series Pose has taken her to new heights, when she transformed into the image of a strong, confident, and proud transgender woman. Her character not only tells unheard stories about the lives of the transgender community, but also deeply inspires millions of people on their journey to find freedom and pride in themselves. Before conquering the screen, Dominique built a solid foundation in the modeling industry with her attractive beauty and radiant charisma. She quickly shined on international catwalks, and became a sought-after face in many major advertising campaigns. But what makes Dominique truly stand out is not only her appearance, but also her resilience, perseverance, and constant determination to assert herself. She is a living testament to the power of determination and passion, always overcoming all challenges to reach success. In addition to art, Dominique Jackson is also a tireless activist for the rights of the transgender community. She uses her voice and influence to fight for equality and respect in society. Her inspiring stories and actions are the guiding light, affirming that everyone deserves to live their true identity, proud of their identity, not limited by fear or prejudice. Anwen Mouston has made history in British politics by becoming the first transgender female MP in the UK. Not only is she outstanding for her talent and sharp intellect, she is also a symbol of courage and resilience, overcoming all prejudices and challenges to assert her position in a competitive political environment. Anwen's journey is not only a personal story, but also a strong inspiration for the transgender community and those who are fighting for rights, equality, and respect. 2016 marked an important step forward in her career when Anwen was elected to Wolverhampton City Council, becoming one of the pioneers to bring the voice of the transgender community into British politics. This success not only opened the door for the LGBTQ+ community, but also contributed to promoting the fight for equality and acceptance in society. With passion and unwavering determination, Anwen Mouston has played a pivotal role in driving public policy reform and is a shining example of courage and desire for change. Her story demonstrates that being true to yourself, despite challenges and prejudices, is always the greatest power to make a difference. Chaz Bono, born in 1969, is not only known as the son of music legends Cher and Sonny Bono, but also a symbol of courage and determination through his meaningful transgender journey that he publicly shared with the public. As one of the pioneers who dared to step out with his true identity, Chaz has broken many social barriers, contributing to changing the way the world perceives and respects the LGBTQ+ community. Before officially coming out as transgender in 2009, Chaz had accumulated experience in many art and television projects. However, it was his transgender story that opened a new inspirational chapter for his life and career. Through his autobiography, Transition, the story of how I became a man, Chaz conveys a profound message about freedom, personal identity, and being true to oneself. The book has become a valuable source of motivation, giving strength to those who are looking for acceptance and freedom in their journey to discover their true self. Not only is Chaz a talented author, he is also a resilient social activist, using his voice and influence to protect the rights of the transgender and LGBTQ+ communities. His contributions have contributed to changing social perceptions and creating positive changes. Chaz Bono is not only a symbol of personal strength, but also a great inspiration, encouraging millions of people to dare to live their truth, not hesitating to face prejudice and difficulties. Chella Man, born in 1998, is a resilient actress, artist, and activist who has become a prominent icon in the LGBTQ+ community through her role as Jericho in the Titan series. She is not only a strong representative of transgender people, but also a voice for the disabled community in the entertainment industry, creating a new space for underheard voices on screen. Born with dyslexia and a partial body defect, Chella has experienced many challenges in life. But it is these difficulties that have given her strength and urged her to pursue her passion for art with unwavering determination. Not only shining in acting, Chella also creates unique and inspiring works of art on social media, attracting admiration for her authenticity, strength, and unique style. In addition to her artistic career, Chella Man is also a passionate activist, constantly striving to raise awareness of the rights of transgender and disabled people. Her story is a profound inspiration for those who are searching for freedom and self-acceptance. With her confidence and the power to convey the message of the value of differences, Chella has become an icon not only for the LGBTQ+ community, but also for the whole society, proving that it is differences that create the true value of each person. Candace Cain, born in 1971 in Maui, Hawaii, is a shining star in the entertainment industry and a strong symbol of the LGBTQ+ community. She made a deep impression through her role in the series Dirty Sexy Money, where she transformed into a transgender woman with emotional depth and authenticity rarely seen on screen. This role not only affirmed Candace's acting talent, but also contributed significantly to bringing the story of transgender people to the public in an authentic and inspiring way. Before entering the television industry, Candace began her artistic career as a dancer. But it was her passion for acting that opened up a new path where she could freely express her talent and unique identity. With her confidence and constant creativity, Candace quickly established a solid position, becoming a beloved face in the entertainment industry. Not only stopping at art, Candace Cain is also a passionate social activist. She is not afraid to share her personal journey to speak up for the transgender community, spreading the message of acceptance, freedom, and courage. With her unique style and resilient personality, she has become a great inspiration, promoting social awareness and contributing positively to the change in the way people view gender diversity. Candace is not only an outstanding artist, but also a beacon of hope for those who are looking for their voice and place in this world. Eli Ehrlich is one of the most prominent faces of the LGBTQ+ community, not only because of her writing talent, but also because of her passion in the fight for transgender rights. With her sharp and emotional writing style, she has touched the hearts of millions of readers, especially young people, through her true stories about identity, courage, and the journey to overcome prejudice. Having gone through challenging years in the process of asserting herself, Eli has turned her personal experiences into a voice representing many people. What she writes is not simply the story of an individual, but a mirror reflecting the feelings, aspirations, and collective strength of the transgender community. Each of her articles is like a ray of light, opening up meaningful dialogues about understanding and human rights. Through media platforms, Eli has contributed to changing social awareness with her sincerity and courage. Beyond literature, Eli Ehrlich is also a tireless activist. She actively participates in campaigns, from policy forums to community events, to promote recognition and freedom for transgender people. Every action, every word of hers carries a message of freedom, equality, and the desire to live true to oneself. Eli Ehrlich is the embodiment of determination and perseverance. She not only affirms her own values, but also becomes a great source of motivation for those who are seeking acceptance and courageously stand up to fight for a world where everyone has the right to be themselves, without fear and prejudice. Fallon Fox, born in 1975, is one of the first professional MMA fighters to publicly come out as transgender, becoming a pioneering icon in a sport that is often harsh and full of prejudice. Starting her martial arts journey in 2008, she quickly attracted attention not only for her impressive fighting skills, but also for her personal story full of mental strength and strong will. In 2013, Fallon officially came out as transgender, a courageous decision at a time when her career was at its peak. Despite facing a wave of controversy and many barriers from the public and experts, she still steadfastly pursued her passion for martial arts. Fallon asserts that talent, discipline, and passion are not limited by gender, and that is what has helped her become a symbol of equality and the ability to overcome all prejudices. Not stopping at the ring, Fallon Fox is also a strong voice in social activities. She actively participates in campaigns, events, and speaks up for the rights of the LGBTQ+ community and especially transgender athletes, bringing a more humane and fair perspective to sports. Through every action and statement, she calls for respect, understanding, and recognition of the real efforts behind every achievement. Fallon Fox is the embodiment of courage and resilience. She not only opens the door for transgender athletes to compete fairly, but also inspires the freedom to live true to oneself, affirming that overcoming challenges is not only a personal achievement, but also a message that spreads strength and confidence to an entire community. Gina Rosero, born in 1989 in the Philippines, is a talented model and strong-willed activist, always at the forefront of the fight for the rights of the transgender community. Arriving in the United States at a young age, Gina not only overcame cultural and identity barriers, but also gradually asserted her position in the international fashion industry. With her charismatic style and strong personality, she became a familiar face in many prestigious magazines and global advertising campaigns. A milestone in Gina's journey came in 2014, when she publicly came out as transgender in an emotional speech at TED Talk. On that stage, she recounted her journey of self-discovery, invisible pressures, and the fear of having to hide her true self. But instead of letting the pain break her, Gina turned it into strength, delivering a clear message about self-love, acceptance, and the desire to live true to her personal identity. Not only shining on the catwalk, Gina Rosero is also a strong voice for justice and equality. She actively participates in global organizations and campaigns, tirelessly fighting to raise social awareness about transgender people and protect the rights of this community. Through each activity and statement, Gina not only inspires to live authentically and freely, but also affirms that courage and determination can change the world. With her inner beauty and rare courage, Gina Rosero has become a symbol of hope, freedom, and belief, not only in the LGBTQ+ community, but also in the hearts of millions of people who are searching for acceptance and belief in themselves. Isis King, born in 1985, is an influential American model and activist, known to the public as one of the first transgender models to appear on the reality TV show America's Next Top Model. Her appearance not only marked a turning point in the entertainment industry, but also opened the door for the authentic and diverse presence of the LGBTQ+ community on television, changing the way society views her with her own story and image. After attracting attention on America's Next Top Model, Isis King continued to affirm her name in the international fashion industry. She appeared in large-scale advertising campaigns, attended prestigious fashion events, and collaborated with leading brands. Her prominent presence in prestigious fashion magazines not only demonstrates her professional level, but also proves the talent and relentless efforts of a resilient woman overcoming prejudice. In addition to her modeling career, Isis is also a strong voice for the transgender community. She is actively involved in social activities, campaigning for equality, and raising awareness of the challenges that transgender people face. With her courage and unwavering determination, she not only speaks up for herself, but also represents thousands of people who are seeking recognition and respect in society. Isis King is the embodiment of resilience and self-respect, an inspirational symbol for those who dare to live their truth, overcome all barriers to affirm their own identity and values. She has not only redefined beauty, but also contributed to changing the mindset of an entire generation. Jamie Raines, born in 1995, is not only known as a YouTuber, but also an inspirational symbol of courage and authenticity. His journey of living authentically is not only about his transition, but also a powerful testament to the desire to be himself in a world full of barriers. Through his simple yet profound videos, Jamie has opened up necessary conversations about the difficulties that the transgender community faces, while building a space of hope for those who are longing for understanding and acceptance. Each story Jamie tells not only reflects his personal experience, but also contains valuable messages about mental health, self-love, and community spirit. He always encourages people to overcome stereotypes, bravely pursue true happiness by being true to themselves. What Jamie shares is not only a personal journey, but also a source of motivation for thousands of people who are looking for freedom and identity in a society full of prejudice. With sincerity, perseverance, and an open heart, Jamie Rains has become a spiritual support for the community. He not only spreads hope, but also contributes to changing the way society perceives, inspiring many people to dare to live truthfully, be strong, and constantly strive. Janet Mock, born in 1983, is a resilient woman, a sharp writer, a talented producer, and an indispensable voice in the movement for the rights of the LGBTQ+ community. She entered the public light through her memoir, Redefining Realness, a sincere, profound, and emotional work, recording her own transgender journey and the difficulties, prejudices, and pain she overcame to become her true self. The book is not only a personal story, but also a powerful message about self-love, acceptance, and self-worth in a world with many barriers. Not stopping at literature, Janet Mock has affirmed her mark in the entertainment industry when taking on the role of producer of the series Pose, a work praised for its realistic and humane depiction of the lives of the transgender community. With her passion and leadership, Pose not only brings vivid images, but also inspires empathy, opening the door to dialogue about gender equality and human rights. Janet is constantly present in social campaigns, persistently speaking up for equality, respect, and opportunity for transgender people. Her journey not only encourages those who are seeking acceptance and freedom, but also contributes to shaping a world where everyone has the right to be authentic, to be valued, and to tell their own stories. Janet Mock is a symbol of courage and pride, someone who not only changed her own life, but also inspired the world. Jazz Jennings, born in 2000, is an influential American model, YouTuber, and social activist, known for her public transgender journey since she was a child. She became one of the pioneers who dared to share her personal story openly and honestly through the reality TV show I Am Jazz. The show has brought a close and deep look at the difficulties, joys, and real challenges that a young transgender person faces every day in the journey to live true to themselves. Not only stopping at television, Jazz also built a positive community on her YouTube channel, where she shares authentic experiences, inspiring the LGBTQ+ community and young people looking for confidence, empathy, and acceptance. From stories about mental health to the journey of social integration, she always brings a message of resilience and a positive attitude in all circumstances. In addition to her media activities, Jazz Jennings is also a persistent activist, participating in many campaigns and initiatives to protect and promote the rights of the transgender community. Through her courage, sincerity, and indomitable spirit, she has become a symbol for a generation that dares to live authentically, dares to speak up, and dares to dream of an equal society where every individual is respected and free to express their identity. Gia Gunn, born in 1989, is one of the most prominent faces in the entertainment industry, making a strong impression through the reality TV show RuPaul's Drag Race. With her bold performance style, unmistakable charm, and personality, Gia quickly captured the hearts of the audience, affirming her position as an influential cultural icon in the LGBTQ+ community. Not only stopping at the spotlight, Gia Gunn is also a strong voice in the fight for transgender rights. She bravely speaks out against discrimination, promotes acceptance, and spreads messages of love and tolerance. With sincerity and perseverance, Gia has inspired countless people to dare to be true to themselves, overcome social barriers to pursue their passion. Gia Gunn is not only a testament to the success of an artist who dares to be different, but also a symbol of courage and belief in self-worth. She continues to shine hope and inspire millions of people around the world. People who are searching for freedom, recognition, and a life true to themselves. Vladimir Luxuria is not only an outstanding politician, but also a resilient symbol in the fight for the rights of the LGBTQ+ community. As the first transgender person elected to the Italian parliament, she has opened a new chapter of hope for equality and acceptance in society, proving that every individual deserves to live their true self without any prejudice or judgment. In addition to her outstanding political career, Vladimir is also a talented writer and artist with profound and powerfully inspiring works. She is constantly dedicated to social campaigns, contributing to raising awareness, promoting respect, and protecting the rights of the LGBTQ+ community, creating a powerful and meaningful voice in social movements. With his determination and relentless fighting spirit, Vladimir Luxuria becomes an inspirational role model for the younger generation, encouraging people to dare to be true to themselves, constantly fight for justice, and together build a world where all identities are respected and honored. Gigi Gorgeous, born in 1992 in Canada, is not only a talented model and YouTuber, but also a passionate activist in the LGBTQ+ community. Her true story of her transgender journey has attracted a large number of fans and become a strong source of inspiration, giving confidence to many people on the path to finding themselves. Immediately after publicly coming out as transgender, Gigi quickly affirmed her position in the fashion industry with large-scale advertising campaigns and impressive appearances on the covers of prestigious magazines. Her confident style, unique personality, and daring to live her truth have turned her into a fashion icon admired and loved by young people. Not only stopping at success in her modeling career, Gigi is also a tireless warrior for the rights of transgender people. She actively participates in organizations and events to raise awareness and promote acceptance in society. Gigi Gorgeous is not only a model of success, but also a symbol of courage and freedom, inspiring millions of people to dare to be true to themselves and shine with their own personality. Ian Harvey, a talented American actor, is known for his insightful portrayals of the transgender community on both the big and small screens. Through each character, he not only tells his personal story, but also contributes significantly to raising awareness and understanding of the diverse experiences of transgender people in society. In addition to his acting career, Ian is also a steadfast activist, dedicated to fighting for the rights and equality of the transgender community. He actively participates in campaigns and events to promote respect, acceptance, and equality for all. With his courage and sincerity in every sharing, Ian Harvey is not only an excellent artist, but also a strong inspiration, encouraging people to dare to live their truth, pursue their passion, and become a symbol of resilience and personal freedom. Indya Moore, born in 1995, is a rising star in the modeling and acting industry in the U.S., widely known for her role as Angel Evangelista in the TV series Pose. She not only conquered the audience with her outstanding talent and personal style, but also conveyed a strong message about the journey of discovering identity and the strength of resilience in asserting oneself. From the very beginning of her career, Indya made a deep impression with her unique style and confidence on major catwalks, collaborating with famous fashion brands, affirming her position in the international fashion industry, and not only shining on the art stage. Indya Moore is also a passionate social activist, constantly fighting for the rights of the transgender and LGBTQ+ communities. She openly shares the challenges that transgender people face and contributes to important campaigns to promote equality and respect in society. With her relentless efforts, Indya has become a symbol of freedom, pride, and courage, a strong inspiration to those on the path of being true to themselves. Jessica Alves, born in 1983, is a Brazilian model and television personality known for her inspiring transgender journey and her relentless efforts to discover and live her true identity. Before coming out as transgender, Jessica was known as the human Ken doll, thanks to her plastic surgeries to perfect her appearance. However, her courageous decision to embark on a gender transition journey opened a new chapter in her life, helping Jessica find true freedom and happiness. Not only appearing regularly on television, Jessica also sincerely shares about her transgender journey, conveying profound messages about self-acceptance and the desire for personal freedom. She has become a great icon and inspiration in the LGBTQ+ community, a living testament to inner strength and resilience on the path to finding herself. In addition to her television career, Jessica Alves is also a passionate activist, actively participating in campaigns and initiatives to raise awareness of equal rights and personal freedom for the transgender community. With her confidence and strong will, she has become a strong role model, not only for the LGBTQ+ community, but also for all those who are seeking acceptance and freedom in life. Jordan Raskopoulos, born in 1982, is an accomplished actress and comedian, as well as a pioneering icon in the LGBTQ+ community in Australia. Before coming out, she made a lasting impression as a member of the comedy group The Axis of Awesome, where she performed sharp and humorous satires, creating a perfect blend of laughter and deep reflection for the audience. Despite her many successes in her artistic career, Jordan always felt a deep part of herself that was not being lived out. In 2016, she stepped into the light with the decision to come out, opening a new journey full of courage and confidence. That decision not only helped Jordan affirm her identity, but also strongly inspired those who were struggling to find themselves amidst difficulties and prejudices. In addition to her acting career, Jordan is also a tireless warrior in the fight for the rights of the LGBTQ+ community. She actively participates in campaigns for gender equality and personal freedom, encouraging people to be true to themselves and overcome all social barriers. With talent and steadfast inner strength, Jordan Raskopoulos has become a symbol of courage, resilience, and endless inspiration for those who yearn for freedom and acceptance in society. Josie J is not only a talented actress, but also a resilient social activist, standing out with her inspiring and empowering transgender journey. She has left a deep mark on the LGBTQ+ community through her honest and touching stories about her personal life, while conveying meaningful messages about self-love and respect for differences. With her candor and openness, Josie J shares the difficulties and challenges she has experienced in the entertainment industry, as well as on her own transition journey. These sincere shares not only raise awareness of the rights of the transgender community, but also inspire empathy, promoting society towards equality and mutual respect. In addition to her acting career, Josie is also actively involved in charity campaigns and fights for the rights of transgender people, contributing to building a more just and tolerant society. With her resilience and courage, she becomes a strong inspiration, empowering those on their journey to find confidence and be true to themselves. Joy Ladine is a brilliant poet and passionate professor, as well as a resilient symbol of freedom and transness. As one of the first transgender women to teach at Yeshiva University, an Orthodox Jewish school that has never had a transgender presence, she not only made a breakthrough in her academic career, but also opened a new door for diversity and tolerance in a traditional environment. In 2008, when she publicly came out as transgender, Joy created a profound turning point in her life. Her story is portrayed in Through the Door of Life, a Jewish journey between genders, a delicate combination of autobiography and gender identity research. The book is not only a personal journey, but also conveys a profound message about the harmony between religion, culture, and self-awareness, expanding the perspective on transgender experiences in a multidimensional society. In addition to her role as a poet and scholar, Joy Ladin is also a steadfast activist, tirelessly fighting for the rights of the transgender community. With her sharp intellect and courage, she has become an important voice promoting acceptance, respect, and deep understanding of gender identity. Her efforts contribute to promoting social change, building a world where everyone is honored and no one is discriminated against because of their differences. Joy's mark in the fight for equality and human rights is a strong inspiration for many generations. Laverne Cox, born in 1972, is an outstanding American actress and activist, widely known for her role as Sophia Bursette in the series Orange is the New Black. She is one of the pioneering transgender people who have achieved great success in the entertainment industry, contributing to changing social perceptions of the transgender community and promoting greater equality and respect. Not only shining on the screen with her acting talent, Laverne is also a strong and passionate voice in the LGBTQ+ rights movement. She actively participates in many important campaigns to increase understanding and acceptance of transgender people. Her achievements are recognized through many awards and nominations, including a prestigious Emmy nomination for her role in Orange is the New Black. Laverne Cox is not only a symbol of diversity, but also an example of the right to be true to oneself. With her talent, courage, and dedication, Laverne Cox has inspired millions of people, especially in the transgender community, empowering them to confidently assert themselves and live fully. She has contributed to creating positive changes, bringing hope and respect to modern society. Leah T., born in 1981 in Brazil, is an outstanding model and a living symbol of innovation in the global fashion industry. Her story is a testament to the power of perseverance and daring to be different, becoming one of the first transgender models to make a deep impression on famous catwalks and advertising campaigns of the world's leading brands. Since publicly transitioning in 2010, Leah T. has not only shined as a model, but also become a strong voice, inspiring the global transgender community. She uses her personal story to challenge social prejudices, affirming that true beauty lies not only in appearance, but also in the freedom to live true to oneself. With her unmistakable confidence and bold style, Leah T. has helped change the perception of beauty in the fashion industry, breaking old stereotypes to usher in a new era of diversity and acceptance. She is a symbol of courage, an endless source of inspiration for those on the journey to self-acceptance and living fully as themselves, despite challenges and limitations. Mina Caputo, born in 1982, is an outstanding American singer and songwriter, known as the lead vocalist of the rock band Life of Agony. Behind the catchy melodies and unique musical style, Mina has gone through a touching journey of discovering her true identity and finding deep acceptance. In 2015, Mina publicly transitioned, a turning point in her personal life, but also opened a new chapter in her musical career. Since then, Mina has become a strong voice for the LGBTQ+ community, using her own story to inspire, raise awareness, and promote understanding of gender identity in society. Mina's music is always authentic, containing profound messages about inner struggles, freedom, and the journey to find oneself. She has become an inspirational role model, encouraging those who are looking for the confidence and courage to be true to themselves. For Mina, music is not only art, but also a powerful tool to promote positive change in society. MJ Rodriguez, born in 1991, is not only a shining star in the entertainment industry, but also a resilient and powerful symbol representing the LGBTQ+ community, especially transgender people. She made a deep impression with her role as Blanca Evangelista in the TV series Pose, where she authentically conveyed the challenging journey of finding identity and acceptance in society. In 2021, MJ Rodriguez made history when she became the first transgender person to be nominated for an Emmy for Best Actress in a drama series. This achievement is not only a proud personal step forward, but also opens new doors, affirming that talent is not bound by gender or identity, while creating great momentum for the transgender community in the entertainment industry. In addition to her acting talent, MJ is also a tireless and passionate voice for transgender rights. She uses her position to raise awareness about acceptance, emphasizing that everyone deserves to be true to themselves and receive complete love. With her talent, courage, and passion, MJ Rodriguez has become an endless source of inspiration, empowering those who are looking for the confidence to be true to themselves. Monroe Bergdorf, born in 1987, is not only an outstanding model, but also a passionate British activist, famous for her pioneering role in bringing gender and racial issues to the heart of the fashion industry. She has contributed to creating profound dialogues and changing the way society views diversity and equality. Since coming out as transgender at a young age, Monroe has become a symbol of resilience and courage. She uses her influence to fight tirelessly for the rights of the transgender community while breaking down the barriers of racial and gender discrimination that exist in society. Through major advertising campaigns and a strong voice in discussions about equality, Monroe has affirmed her position as a figure with profound influence in promoting change and fairness. With her talent, natural beauty, and perseverance, Monroe Bergdorf not only reshaped the fashion industry standards, but also strongly inspired all those who yearned for freedom, equality, and being true to themselves. Juno Dawson, born in 1981, is a passionate British writer and activist known for her insightful works exploring themes of gender, identity, and coming of age. With books such as Being a Girl and Meat Market, she offers an honest and moving look at love, self-acceptance, and the complexities surrounding gender identity. As a transgender woman, Juno Dawson has become a powerful and inspiring voice in the LGBTQ+ community, sharing her personal story with honesty and engaging in advocacy for transgender rights. She advocates respect, diversity, and a more inclusive and equitable society. With her sharp writing and resilience, Juno has become an inspirational figure for thousands of young people on their journey to self-confidence and self-acceptance. She is not only a talented writer, but also a guide and motivator for those who are longing to be true to themselves and find freedom in life. Kelly Maloney, born in 1963, is a prominent British boxing manager and activist, widely known for her career managing elite boxers. Before coming out in 2014, she worked in the sports industry under the name Frank Maloney and achieved considerable success. After her transition, Kelly continued to contribute to the sports industry and became a pioneering voice in raising awareness for the rights of the LGBTQ+ community. Her inspiring personal story not only motivates, but also encourages society to expand respect for diversity and build a safe, friendly environment for those who seek acceptance and live their true selves. With courage and resilience, Kelly Maloney has become a symbol of inner strength and personal freedom, deeply inspiring those who are on the journey of self-affirmation. She is a powerful force, contributing to changing perceptions and promoting tolerance in society. Laura Jane Grace, born in 1980, is an American musician and singer, known as the founder and lead vocalist of the punk rock band Against Me. She has made a strong mark in the music industry with her captivating style and profound messages about life, gender identity, and personal freedom. In 2012, when she publicly transitioned, Laura entered a brave new chapter in both her life and career. She quickly became an inspirational icon in the LGBTQ+ community, using music as a bridge to share her most authentic stories and emotions. The album Transgender Dysphoria Blues is not only a work of art, but also a powerful narrative about the journey of struggle, self-awareness, and challenges that transgender people face. With her outstanding talent and courage to be true to herself, Laura Jane Grace has not only won the hearts of fans, but also become a beacon of light for those who are searching for self-acceptance and strong faith. She is a resilient role model, encouraging everyone to dare to stand firm in their identity and pursue their passion without fear. Lauren Harries, born in 1977, is a prominent British television personality and commentator, widely known for her impressive appearances on television. Starting her career as an art collector, Lauren has gradually affirmed her position as a strong icon in the LGBTQ+ community. In the early 2000s, when she publicly transitioned, Lauren opened a new chapter of confidence in her life and career. Not only did she continue to shine on screen, but she also became an important voice, actively raising awareness of transgender rights. With a personal and confident style, Lauren always shares sincere stories, deeply inspiring the community, while encouraging inclusion and respect for diversity. In addition to her television activities, Lauren is also active in charity campaigns and organizing many events to support the LGBTQ+ community. She is a symbol of strength, courage, and a valuable source of encouragement for those seeking self-acceptance and the right to be true to themselves. Lily Wachowski, born in 1967, is a talented American producer, director, and screenwriter, best known for her co-creatorship with her sister Lana in the classic film series The Matrix. Their works have revolutionized the science fiction genre and left a deep mark on global popular culture. Since coming out as transgender in 2016, Lily has not only become an influential figure in the film industry, but also a powerful voice in the LGBTQ+ community. She courageously shared her personal story, contributing to raising awareness about gender identity and promoting the rights of transgender people, inspiring many people to overcome prejudice and social barriers. With outstanding talent, burning passion, and great contributions to art and the community, Lily Wachowski has not only affirmed her solid position in the film industry, but also become a symbol of courage and belief in living true to herself. She is a powerful inspiration to anyone seeking confidence and acceptance in their journey of self-expression. Tommy Dorfman, born in 1992, is an American actress and producer who rose to fame with her role as Ryan Shaver in the hit TV series 13 Reasons Why. With her subtle acting ability and deep empathy, she quickly established herself in the entertainment industry as a promising young face, loved for her sincerity and tireless efforts. In 2021, Tommy publicly came out as transgender, a strong and courageous decision that received widespread support from the LGBTQ+ community as well as the public. She openly shared her journey of self-awareness and self-discovery, inspiring many to seek acceptance and feel the strength of family and friends in the process. In addition to her acting career, Tommy is also actively involved in community activities, especially in raising awareness of transgender rights and promoting diversity in the entertainment industry. With her talent and courage, she has become an inspirational icon, contributing to affirming the values of equality, freedom, and self-acceptance in society. Trace Lysette, born in 1987, is a talented actress, best known for her role as Jasmine in the TV series Transparent, a work that has made a big splash in raising awareness of the rights of the LGBTQ+ community. This role not only demonstrates Trace's excellent acting ability, but also helps her become a strong symbol in the journey to promote respect and acceptance for transgender people. In addition to her artistic career, Trace is also actively involved in charity activities and projects to build a safe and supportive environment for the LGBTQ+ community. She often shares her inspiring personal stories, empowering those on the path to self-acceptance and encouraging people to dare to be true to themselves. At the same time, Trace constantly speaks out to fight for the rights of transgender people, becoming a resilient and passionate voice in the community. With her outstanding talent, strong will, and unwavering courage, Trace Lysette has become an inspirational role model, urging people to break down social barriers and pursue their dreams with vigor, not only in the entertainment industry but in every moment of life. Trevi Moran, born in 1998, is a talented American singer and YouTuber, widely known for her creative music videos and vlogs on her personal YouTube channel. She has left a deep mark in the music industry with songs like Echo and Dynamite, showing her unique musical style and personality, attracting a large number of loyal fans. In 2020, Trevi publicly transitioned, becoming a strong inspiration for the LGBTQ+ community, especially young people on their journey to self-acceptance and self-love. She shares her honest and resilient transition story, motivating people to dare to live their truth and confidently express their true selves. In addition to her music career, Trevi is also actively involved in social activities, contributing to raising awareness of transgender rights and building a safe and supportive environment for young people in the community. With talent, courage, and sincerity, Trevi Moran has become an inspirational role model, encouraging people to stay true to themselves and constantly pursue their dreams, overcoming all challenges on their journey. Teddy Geiger, born in 1989, is an American musician and actress known for her hit songs and impressive acting skills. Starting her music career in the early 2000s, Teddy quickly made her mark with hits like For You I Will and Leave Me Alone, establishing a solid position in the pop music industry. Not only shining on the music stage, Teddy also left a deep mark in the entertainment industry through prominent roles in shows like Empire and The X Factor, affirming her versatility and comprehensive talent. 2017 marked an important turning point in Teddy's life when she publicly came out as transgender. Since then, Teddy has become a strong voice for the LGBTQ+ community, using her influence to inspire, promote respect, and acceptance of diverse identities. With his confidence, courage, and enduring talent, Teddy Geiger has become an inspirational icon for those who aspire to be true to themselves and steadfastly pursue their passions despite all challenges. Nats Getty, born in 1992, is an American model and activist known for her unique personal fashion style and steadfast commitment to LGBTQ+ rights. As a member of the prestigious Getty family, Nats has made a strong mark in the fashion industry while using her influence to spread messages of respect, equality, and acceptance of diversity. In 2020, when she publicly came out as transgender, Nats became a living symbol of the freedom to be true to herself, spreading a profound message of the right to control her life and personal freedom. She has constantly strived in charity activities and campaigns to raise awareness of transgender rights, especially devoting much of her passion to supporting young people in the LGBTQ+ community, helping them find confidence and self-acceptance. With her talent, confidence, and strong will, Nats Getty is not only a strong inspiration for those who are fighting for equality, but also encourages everyone to be strong and true to their own identity. She not only opens the door to an inclusive society, but also contributes to building a world full of compassion and tolerance. Renee Richards, born in 1934, is not only an excellent tennis player, but also a talented American ophthalmologist, famous for her groundbreaking contributions to the rights of the transgender community. She began her professional tennis career in the 1970s and quickly established herself as one of the top players. However, what made a special mark in her life was her decision to publicly transition in 1975, a courageous and bold step in a time of many prejudices and challenges. After coming out, Renee faced a wave of fierce opposition and great barriers in sports tournaments. However, with her strong will and unyielding determination, she regained the right to compete fairly, paving the way for transgender athletes to continue pursuing their passion without discrimination. Her story has changed the way society views transgender people in sports while promoting respect and protection of the rights of the LGBTQ+ community. Not only stopping at sports, Renee Richards also combines intelligence and courage in her career as an ophthalmologist, becoming an inspirational role model for many people. She is a symbol of strength and perseverance, a source of motivation for everyone to be courageous to live true to themselves, despite all difficulties and social prejudices. Stu Rasmussen, born in 1946, is an American politician and prominent figure in his role as mayor of Silverton, Oregon. He is known as one of the first openly transgender politicians in the United States and is a pioneer in raising awareness and protecting the rights of the LGBTQ+ community in politics. Starting his political career in the early 2000s, Rasmussen was elected mayor of Silverton in 2008. During his tenure, he has tirelessly promoted practical policies to protect the rights of transgender people and minorities, building a diverse, tolerant, and inclusive political environment. His dedication and deep commitment to equality have made him a living symbol of progress and acceptance. Stu Rasmussen's persistent efforts have made him an inspirational role model for the LGBTQ+ community and all those who aspire to a just society. Through his perseverance and unwavering leadership, he paved the way for many other transgender politicians, proving that the power of change lies in determination and relentless will. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video, where we explore the inspiring journeys of prominent figures in the transgender community. Each story is not only a personal journey, but also a living testament to the power of acceptance, perseverance, and respect. If you find these shares meaningful, please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the latest videos. See